San Diego is one of the most beautiful cities in America. The refreshing ocean breeze and sunshine draw tourists from around the world. But at night, it's a different world. Believe it or not, this is where a few members of San Diego's The Rock Church hang out. They're known as JC's Girls, and they minister to the women in the strip clubs.
We actually go into the clubs and bring the girls gifts, and this is an example of one of our gifts. Give them a pink Bible and a candle, some lip gloss, and a love letter that just really lets them know that God loves them.
Sherry, how many girls have you rescued from the stripper clubs here in San Diego?
Me, none. God, several. He is doing things beyond our comprehension. For instance, there's one club we weren't even allowed to get into, but we left the gifts. And 2 months later, a girl shows up at our Bible study, and she ended up getting saved that Sunday at church and has been a part of the ministry.
And then there's the homeless ministry. About 20 to 30 members of The Rock come out every Saturday to minister to those who've fallen on hard times.
We bring the church to the homeless, so a lot of times they usually come towards us, and we have just like a regular church service. Yeah. And today, since it was really pouring down rain, a lot of people are mainly under bridges like this. Whatever resources we have for today, water, coffee, food, we ended up just packing up our stuff and bringing it out here.
That creates the tension.
Pastor Miles McPherson, a former NFL player with the San Diego Chargers, started the Do Something charge at the Rock Church and recently wrote a book about it. So your book is really about making people uncomfortable who are just sitting in the pews.
Jesus said in John 14:12 that if we believed him, the things he did, we would do and even greater works. People don't believe that. So I fed 5,000, you may be able to feed 10. And so if we believe in him, we are supposed to do something, go preach the gospel, go be a witness, go make disciples. Those are all verbs. And so sitting in church, even though that's a verb, that's not included. That's only part of what he's saying.
Among the church's more than 100 outreaches is a ministry called Cancer Care, where volunteers help people going through the trauma of cancer with a wide range of services, including prayer.
Give her peace, Lord. Things like housekeeping, taking care of the children while you're recovering, more support group services that are Christ-based. People needed meals when they couldn't cook for themselves.
In 2009, Rock Church members gave the city of San Diego more than 166,000 hours of community service as part of their Do Something campaign. That equated into about $2.6 million for the city.
So we cleaned up parks, we painted park benches and tables, we planted trees, we painted rec centers, we mentored kids. But our church went out and every week, every day, did something on behalf of our city.
Now, Pastor McPherson is challenging churches across the country to do the same in their own cities.
Jesus is a very practical God. He comes into our life and he addresses very practical needs in our lives. So why shouldn't we address practical needs in the city's lives?
But how do you know which ministry is right for you? For many people, it's born out of their own experiences. Michele KASSA learned sign language because her best friend's son was deaf. Now she runs a foster home for hearing-impaired children and even adopted a deaf child.
I just had a gift for the language, picked it up very quickly, fell in love with the deaf world, the deaf people, and the culture, and eventually started interpreting at church.
McPherson says as God's children, if we don't go, who will? And who will reach people like Mindy, a former stripper who cried out to God one night in the club for a sign from heaven.
About 5 minutes later, JC's Girls walked into the club, and that was the answer to my prayer.
And what did they do?
Told me that God loves me. I was shocked. First of all, you don't usually associate church women with strip clubs, and I needed to hear that because the industry will destroy you.
Today, Mindy volunteers with the JC's Girls to help other women find their way out of the strip clubs and the simple truth that God loves them. McPherson says that's what the Do Something campaign is really all about. Wendy Griffith, CBN News, San Diego.